Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. We are here about to check out these Canada and U.S. relations. Uh, Man, things are, as long as Donald Trump is in office, things probably not going to get better. Let's just keep it real. But we can have wishful thinking, but as long as he's in office, man, listen. People just don't want to put up with his nonsense, so probably won't get better. But let's check out these numbers. New data shows how much Canadians are avoiding the U.S. Power and politics. This guy, I like this guy. I did a video when he interviewed Mark Carney right before the summit, the G7 summit, or right after, one of the two. But yeah, I like this guy. Anyway, let's go.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Mexico this hour looking to strengthen ties as both countries say they're striving to lessen reliance on the United States. The U.S. in turn says it's disappointed in Canada and Canadians' response to its tariffs.
It is very, very difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship. Okay? You ran a campaign where, it was anti-American, elbows up, me too. It was an anti-American campaign.
That's right.
The CBC's JP
That's right. Why you got that Band-Aid on your head, you must have bumped your head. You could talk about how you're disappointed in that, but you're not talking about the cause. Why did they run an anti-American campaign? Why don't they like the American system? What's going on? It's Donald Trump. See, put that into perspective. Don't ask it, yeah, so you ran anti. You think they want to run a Let's Go American campaign when America's talking about annexing them, charging crazy prices for tariffs? Like, come on, bro. Then you got Donald Trump. He's just disrespectful. Like, so much has passed in this last 6 months, or even seven. Yeah, last 6. I'm gonna say last 6 months has been really bad. But what's your point in saying, yeah, you ran this and this? It's hard to find a Canadian that wants to put up with our bullshit here in America. That's what you should have said.
Asker has been tracking the numbers on how Canadians are choosing to spend their money in the face of the trade war. Okay, JP, let's start with travel. This is one of the things you've been on for a while now. What are we seeing on the travel front?
Yeah, after President Trump launched his trade war and hit us with punishing tariffs, you'll remember Prime Minister Mark Carney said the old relationship with the United States will soon be over. Mm-hmm. Now we have some hard data to suggest that prophecy is coming true. There has been a quantifiable shift with travel, on trade, shopping, and culture. Let's start with cross-border travel in particular. It's not just a slump. It's really in free fall. With trips by automobile in August, it was down 35% in August alone. And when we first started talking about this phenomenon, it was really a land border thing, if you'll remember. Well, now we also have some data on air travel as well. That's down 25% year over year in August. Air Canada has cut back a number of its U.S. routes, or downsize some of the planes on some of the routes to American cities. But that doesn't mean travel demand has dried up. They've actually added 28 international routes to destinations beyond the United States. Canadians still want to travel. They're going to Europe, the Caribbean, and South America instead.
Right, okay, because we saw the basic...
There's nothing's wrong with that. Like, why would you want to spend your money in a country that doesn't respect your dollar or respect what's coming from Canada? You know what I mean? And plus, we're not going to lie. The prices in America has skyrocketed. Like, man, this is new to me. But $8 for a gallon of orange juice? That's crazy. And it's unacceptable. You know what I mean? But, yeah, let's come on. Let's keep going. But in Europe, the cost of living is cheaper. The prices are cheaper. Caribbean is... It's expensive over there. I'm not gonna lie. They profit off of vacationers. So, but Europe, you can do pretty well over there.
It's cut in half from pre-pandemic numbers, or pretty close to it. You know, my kids wanted to go to Disney. We took them to PEI this summer. The beaches were just as good. Okay, so that's travel. Let's talk about trade, because this is the thing that is, you know, being directly hit by this. What's the data showing?
Yeah, Canadian exports to the United States have dropped about 2%. That seems like a small figure on paper, but you know this well. That's about $5 billion, a hit to exporters in this country. So it's dropped off. But businesses have not wasted any time finding new markets or tapping old ones that maybe have atrophied in the years that we've gone all in on the United States. And when you look at the United Kingdom in particular, it's up 63% this year in terms of the number of exports that are going, the value of those exports going to Great Britain and Northern Ireland. In terms of Europe overall, it's up 26%. So we're sending many more minerals, resources, technology, infrastructure, agricultural products. It's all up. So as the U.S. craters, or at least dips a little bit here, craters in terms of the dollar amount, they're finding other markets to sell those goods.
It's important to say, though, with the interconnectedness and the scale of trade, that 2% is probably even a whole lot bigger than the 63.
I will say, though, the UK is now our second largest trading partner as a result of all these shifts. They've actually displaced China. So we are sending more goods to the UK than just about any other jurisdiction on earth, other than, of course, as you say, the United States.
Okay, that is an interesting development.
That is interesting about them displacing China. That's interesting. But who's number one? Is America still number one?
Element there. Okay, so we see the trade changes, the travel changes, the change in those flows. What other changes you see, what consumers are doing?
Yeah, let's dig into some consumer patterns. We've seen some data from American liquor producers. Of course, we've been following this trend for a long time. We now know sales of United States liquor, American liquor, are down 62% in this country as it stands right now, as of the last quarter for Brown-Forman, a major manufacturer, a major producer of alcohol. You'll know them for Jack Daniels, Woodford Reserve Bourbon. They are sounding the alarm. It's been a huge hit to their bottom line. That's why they're missing their quarterly reports. Loblaw, of course, the country's largest grocer, is also seeing a major dip in terms of the sales of U.S. products. They've taken dozens of U.S. products off their shelves and replaced them with Canadian ones because there is a demand for that homegrown content. They've added more than 100 new Canadian suppliers to their supply chain because there is that demand. Let's also talk about books. This is a really interesting one, too. I got some data from Indigo, and actually the sales of Canadian authored books this year are up 25% year over year. So there's really this pivot to buying books that are authored by Canadians. We're also seeing that there has been a shift in terms of other cultural mediums too, including Canadian television. I asked CBC Radio Canada for some data on how their programs have been performing. And actually, GEM viewership is up 34% this year in terms of that streaming platform that we have. Murdoch Mystery, Schitt's Creek, Heartland this hour has 22 minutes. They're all up double or triple digits compared to what they were at last year.
Okay, it's interesting on the consumer goods losing market share and losing shelf space, and that's tough to get back when things do go back to normal. Right? Exactly. So who knows when things go back to normal? Canadians have responded to the nationalist call. The U.S. does not like what they're seeing from their northern neighbors. Yeah,
you'll remember the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador, P. Huckstra, kind of chastised Canadians, said that we were being nasty for some of these boycott campaigns. Well, he has some fresh comments we want to play for our audience. Have a listen.
Come on, Pete. What you guys say?
Much of that messaging is continuing. We got to be tough against the Americans. We're not going to buy F-35s. We're going to ban your alcohol. We're going to tell our people not to travel to the United States. I'm sorry, but that's what we see. That doesn't tell me that Canada is passionate about this relationship in the same way that we are.
Not passionate. He's also talking about how there was hope.
Canadians are not going to be disrespected by us Americans. I'm not going to say us Americans, so not all of the Americans are disrespecting Canada. It's the few that's in office. And Pete is trying to play fucking victim. Right? How can you play victim and you guys started this? You know what I mean? Like, we started this. So how are you playing victim? I know you don't want to address the real because you're the ambassador of the U.S. for Canada, but you need to call out Donald Trump, man. Come on. Nobody has to put up with that nonsense. Excuse my language, guys, but just for him to be so dismissive about what started all this is crazy. Address that.
For a big deal with Canada that has faded. So as this rhetoric comes from the United States, we are seeing that Canadians, consumers, businesses, they've already made the pivot. They are finding new markets. They are shifting their behaviors. And the federal government is as well, as you well know. And that's why we're seeing Prime Minister Mark Carney in Mexico today. This diversification campaign, it's in full swing.
Yeah, the thousands of people have lost their jobs because of the trade war. They're pretty passionate about what's going on. All right, thank you, JP. We'll see more data from you online tomorrow morning.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, talk about it, man. Talk about all the people that lost their jobs because of trade wars, because of greed. It's ridiculous, man. But guys, let me know what you guys thought about the video. Listen, I don't have a problem with Canadians sticking together, supporting their country, doing what they need to do to build their country back up. I have a problem with us Americans being so dismissive to the facts that it was us that started this nonsense. The Canadians just responded and chose to protect themselves like anyone with a right mind would. You're not just going to lay down and let somebody do. Come on, man. This is not a get down or lay down mentality. But that's what America's trying to force on people. And that's not cool. But let me know what you guys thought about it, and I'll see you in the next video.